Hello beautiful people, and welcome to my first video for 2026. This one is coming around a little bit later than expected. I did not manage to hop on to record a video for the full moon in Cancer, which we already experienced and digested, and now of course we are preparing for the upcoming lunation, the new moon in Capricorn, which I will dive into shortly. But before getting there, Happy New Year to everyone. I know that we've been in it for 2 weeks now, but still, you know, here we are exactly where we are. And with regards to the offers, I don't have any sale going on at the moment. However, if you are Capricorn or Aquarius, you get 25% of any of my readings. So you can check the list of my services on my website, moonlightsoul369.com. And I don't really have anything else to mention apart from the fact that I don't have any structure going on this year. I don't know exactly what my videos will look like. I still haven't figured it out. There is a lot going on, a lot of dissolving, releasing. Of course, we are in the final month of the snake, the year of the snake. We are going to enter into the year of the fire horse with the new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius, which we will experience next month. And as a matter of fact, this is the final lunation with Neptune in Pisces, this Capricorn New Moon we are going to be experiencing on Sunday, because Neptune is moving back into the sign of Aries the following week on 26th of January, right at the beginning of the Aquarius season. And also Saturn will be moving back into the sign of Aries on Valentine's Day next month. So this is the final new moon with Saturn in a sign of Pisces. We'll still have the full moon in Leo at the beginning of February. So with all of this mentioned, it is a very astrologically busy time right now, to the point where I can't even remember all the transits that are taking place. I do have my little ephemeris here. So today, when I'm recording this on Wednesday, Mercury just made an opposition to Jupiter. Venus will be sextile in Saturn in the early hours of tomorrow morning, and then trine in Uranus, and then we'll have the Mercury square to Chiron on Friday, and on Saturday Venus will sextile Neptune, Sun will sextile Saturn, Venus will move into Aquarius, so she will be freshly in Aquarius for this new moon in Capricorn. Sun will trine Uranus, that's on Saturday. We know that Uranus is actually a very active participant to this new moon. It's trine in the new moon, but the exact trine between Sun and Uranus is happening the day prior. And then on the day of the new moon in Capricorn, we'll have Mercury conjunct Mars. I believe they already had 2 conjunctions in a fall, one in Sagittarius, one in Scorpio, if I remember correctly. So this is the third one in like 6 months, less than 6 months. And then Moon will move into the sign of Aquarius later on Sunday. Mercury will sextile Saturn and trine Uranus. And then, of course, we'll enter into a new week, Monday 19th, with Venus-Pluto conjunction, which is very active during this new moon in Capricorn as well. And prior to that, Sun will move into the sign of Aquarius on Monday the 19th. So like I mentioned, there is so much going on with astrology. We could literally spend all day looking at all the transits and try to decipher them. But looking at the chart of the Capricorn New Moon, and the gist of it, with all these planets being in Capricorn, apart from Venus and Pluto obviously being in Aquarius. As I mentioned, Venus moves into Aquarius the day before on the 17th on Saturday. And and there is this beautiful trine from Uranus on 27 degrees. So it's almost exact, also between Mercury and Uranus. And and then we also have in sextiles from Saturn and Neptune. So this new moon is engaging all the evolutionary planet, right? It's conjunct Pluto, only 5 degrees away. It's sextiled by Saturn and Neptune, and this with regards to the Sun, so like a new moon, this is first sextile. So this is a foundational sextile, the Taurus, which is about creating new foundation. Saturn, Neptune still in Pisces at the time of this new moon, which means that co-creation with the spirit, Capricorn, becoming the conscious creator of your reality, allowing your higher self to help you create rather the ego self, which is the archive of the past, which is why this moon is trined by Uranus. And this is first trine, which is the Leo, the creation. So what are we creating with this new foundation, new sense of self, new sense of values? Also, this new moon is square by Chiron. This is a first quarter square, which is the crisis in action. So what are we going to do? How are we going to move forward? Obviously, with Mars still being in the sign of Capricorn as the ruler of Chiron, and it is in the final decan, which is the Virgo decan, we are learning to take responsibility. We are learning how to mature into the role of the creator of our reality. So everything we are experiencing is then my choice, my free will's choice, rather than somebody else's fault, right? And of course, Mars in Capricorn is exalted. So that's all good news. And yeah, and then we still have out of sign, not out of sign, but almost out of orb, opposition from Jupiter. So this is all about balancing. Jupiter, of course, being in a sign of Cancer, currently still retrograde for another couple of months. Jupiter is showing us the mirror that, okay, this is like, with being attached to this identity, you will always see someone else as the external authority. So being attached to all these labels that we've attached to throughout our life, we will always feel that there's something else in charge, someone else in charge, somebody else creating my story and stuff like that. So it is opposition. It is all about balancing that, okay, who do I want to become to experience life this way? How do I want to experience life, right? Because it's also, there is a, it's a little bit wide orb for, but there is still square between Ceres and Jupiter, and Ceres, of course, is the nurturer. So how are we nurturing ourselves? We are learning to connect in a different way. And I mean, like I said, like pretty much everything is in Capricorn, a little bit in Aquarius, sextile by Saturn, Neptune, trined by Uranus, and squared by Chiron. This is pretty much the gist of the new moon in Capricorn. So what all of this really means, and this again, I can just go into my personal experience, because that's the only one I'm experiencing, how, and especially being in this last month of the snake, how all of these old structures, definitions, labels, identities, memories are falling away, which is like, personally, I'm struggling to even remember all of these transits, whereas before I didn't have a problem, because it feels to me that the logical mind is kind of like taking the side burner, like being secondary. The logical mind is no longer as important as developing the intuitive mind, connection with that something. I mean, Mercury, yes, of course, Mercury is in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, right? Ruled by Saturn in Pisces. And that is on the final decan of Pisces, so that's the Scorpio. Like, the true power comes from being able to connect yourself within. So there is no one else that can really control anything in your life. Because, and this again, it's like, I can't really explain it properly in words, but with regards to the things that I recently have gone through in my own life, and the realizations that I've had and been digesting, is that we aren't really in control, when it comes to the bigger things in life. Like the free will, it's, I feel, mostly connected to the like a 3D experience of our ego. So what are our preferences, like what is connected to our personality and character that we play here and stuff. So with regards to this, there are certain things that we have a free will over, like minor things, like what we're gonna eat and dress, and yes, what job you're gonna take, and blah blah blah. But then there are these much bigger things in our life, which in many cases just hit us in the face, couldn't see it coming, didn't expect to meet this person or find this or something. And these things are not really in our control. It is more about, am I ready for this? Being in the resonance with that frequency. Am I ready to experience this, next chapter, this growth, this lesson? So what I'm trying to say really is that there are a lot of things in our life that, like we might believe that we can control, but we actually can't. And because it's the higher self that is in charge. It's not like I'm the victim of something, but it's actually my higher self that I'm here to represent, that is acting, playing, experiencing through me, through my experience, as this identity that is in charge with regards to these big things in life, like when the soul is ready to awaken, when the soul is ready to do this or that or whatever experience. So with the Capricorn New Moon being the final lunation with Neptune in the sign of Pisces in our life, there we will never experience Neptune in Pisces for Capricorn New Moon again in this lifetime. So with that in mind, and Neptune soon to be moving into the sign of Aries next week, this is all about experience, and I already spoke about this with Neptune in Aries, is experiencing reality in this new way, in this different way, which is more conscious, and where we actually are allowed to create, but through the connection with the higher self. So it's not like my ego self now is gonna decide that, okay, I'm gonna create this, I'm gonna have these things, and that is possible. But if it's not in alignment with the higher self, it won't happen. But it is more like I am consciously creating my reality by becoming conscious of myself, becoming conscious of my higher self, becoming conscious of who I really am, which is also what Jupiter is helping us to realize with this retrograde in Cancer, and being in the sign of Cancer until the end of June, and then of course in July we have all these big shifts, Jupiter in Leo, and the nodes switching signs, and obviously all the planets in new signs by then, Chiron in Taurus, all the rest of it. So at the moment we are seeding with the Capricorn, because Capricorn is the manifestation. Capricorn is the final earth sign in the astrology, and it is the final planet, the last planet that we can see with the naked eye. So this is like, okay, so what are we seeding? We are seeding this new reality, this new way of experiencing life, which is very nebulous, which is really like we can't really plan it, we can't really predict it, with the Saturn in Pisces, final degrees, Neptune in Pisces, 29 degrees, anaretics, and with obviously Jupiter as the traditional ruler being in Cancer, connected to this moon, and then everything else just follows. Capricorn ruled by the Saturn in Pisces, so we go full circle. We are creating a foundation. This is also with the Uranus trining the moon, and Uranus is still retrograde currently, not for much longer. It will station direct in February, but Uranus is completing his transit through Taurus, which began in 2018, and how much has changed since then. We are like completely different people than we were in 2018. And with this foundation, because it is the first trine, it's like, okay, what are you going to create? You are here to create a new foundation. This is the Venus, newly in Aquarius. What is she on 1 degree? Yeah, 1 degree 37, which is the 1-1, 110, 1-1. And she's just about to conjunct Pluto, which is happening the following day on the 19th, literally right alongside with my personal Pluto square Pluto number 3. So with this Venus closing to Pluto, but being in a new phase conjunction with this moon out of sign because she's already in Aquarius, and being still the ruler of Uranus, so actually being in a mutual reception with Uranus and Aquarius traditional ruled by Saturn, we're going beyond what the mind can comprehend, right? Because Mercury, even though Sun and Mercury just had its conjunction, Mercury is behind this moon, which is like a closing phase, So this rigid way of thinking that is connected to the past, the Piscean age, the wisdoms and stories that are connected to these old identities, to these old timelines, Jupiter, if you look at it as a philosopher, as the history, right? Cancer is the memory of all there was, everything that's ever happened, all that's recorded, the Akashic records and stuff. So having Mercury in a closing phase to this new moon in Capricorn, which is seeding the structure of the reality, which is self-created, right? And it's also in connection with this higher self. And Venus in a mutual reception with Uranus as the ruler of Pluto in a closing phase to Pluto, and in a sense in a trine still with Uranus, still within a degree of the trine. And for Venus, this is actually a closing trine to Uranus. So that is the harvest trine, right? The harvesting season. So this is all about us awakening, Aquarius, to the realization of who we are, our value, and through that connecting to something higher than us and creating in this new way, which is not ego-based, it is not mind-based. So that's why the logical mind is starting to take a secondary place in this creation and manifestation, because we're going beyond. We're going beyond what has been created before. And somehow, it's important to mention that in 2025 we have not had any new moon in Capricorn. You might remember that 2024 was the very Capricornian year. I mean, it was the year 8, which is a number associated with Saturn and Jupiter. And in 2024 we had 4 lunation with Capricorn. We had 2 new moons in Capricorn at the beginning, and at the end of the year we closed 2024 with the new moon in Capricorn number 2, which I believe was literally on the New Year's Eve. And we had 2 full moons in Capricorn in a summer. I believe it was on the 0 and 29 degrees, or 1 and 29, something like that, just like Virgo last year, 0 and the 29 degree. So in 2025, the year number 9, we had not had any Capricorn moon, new moon. We had a full moon, but we didn't have any new moon. This year, this is the first new moon for the year, even though it's not the first lunation. The first lunation was the Cancer full moon, but this is the first new moon of this year. And that's really prominent. And I mean, it will be the final lunation of this half of the year. The full moon in Capricorn will be on 29th of June, which is the final lunation for the first half of the year. And we know that in July a lot of things are going to change, with the nodes especially shifting and changing the signs. I'm just checking the nodes. Where are the nodes? 9 degrees. Like whether there is anything going on, but they're too far. Yeah, the nodes are too far. I mean, the north node is still in a trine with Jupiter, but yeah, they are a bit too far from the lunation. So anyway, I don't really know what to say, to be honest. Like, I don't really feel there is much to be said, because this chapter for humanity that we are entering into, you cannot really excuse me. It's like my husband says, that those who know don't speak, and those who speak don't know. There must be something in it, because usually when we speak, we want to find a clarity and understand something. And when we know, we can't really put it into words, because the knowing transcends the vocabulary. So it's like that, there are things and situations and experiences happening more and more, I believe, in many people's life, not just mine, that cannot be really explained. They cannot be really put into words. And also the time, I mean, Chronos, right? Saturn, Capricorn time. It's just crazy how the time is passing, like it just doesn't really make any logical sense, the way that the time has been experienced. And this has been really the case since Pluto moved into Aquarius, first time in 2023. So all that said, this is one of the last lunations with the 28 degree, which is something I forgot to even mention. Yeah, let's just go back to the facts. Capricorn New Moon is happening on January 18, 2026, depending where you are in the world, though. For me, it is happening right before 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 13:51, 28 degrees, 43 minutes. And as I mentioned, we have this situation going on since Libra New Moon, when all the new moons are on the 28 degrees, which is the number 10, right? And that's the year we're in, the year number 10, 0, and the 1. So we'll have 2 more. We have the Aquarius New Moon eclipse next month on the 17th, which will be on 28 degrees, and then the Pisces New Moon, which is not an eclipse, which will be also on 28 degrees, and then the Aries New Moon in... Actually, I believe Aries New Moon is in April this year, right? That will reset it on the 27 degrees, so then the degrees start going down. But the 28 degrees is such an interesting degree, because if you think about the numbers, the 2, which is the partnership, the choice, the creation, always 2, I see like the 2 of swords. And the 8 is the Saturn, is the Capricorn, right? So going back to the year number 8, 2024, I can see where the spirit is taking me now. Okay, so going back to the year number 8, the 2024, when we had the 4 lunations in Capricorn, 4 number, of Saturn, is the building blocks, the structure. And now these lunations are on 2-8. So what are you choosing based on what you've gone through and what you chose throughout 2024 and then throughout 2025, what you then realize that this is not it, or this is not part of it, or this is not going to help me to get there. And then we did the shedding, right, with the snake. And now based on all of this, what's been happening these past few years, Now we're going to create, right? We're going to create the 8. We're going to create the abundance, right? The number 1, which is the magician, which is the choice, right? The Gemini, not Gemini, the Mercury. Gemini is the lovers, right? So yeah, so it's the Mercury, it's the Hermes, that travels between the different dimensions. So that's what we're choosing. Because after 8 you only have the 9, which is the final human number. Then you have the master numbers frequencies, which is next year. We're going to be in a year 11. So even though you can say, oh, it's a year 2, it's a year 11. 2027, right? So yeah, 4 and 7, 11. So this is all a preparation for this. Also with all the planets moving this year, not all of them, but the big planets moving into these new signs to stay. Chiron will still retrograde back into Aries, but from next year onwards, it's just really interesting time to be alive when so much is changing, and the concept of reality is changing, and the way that we even connect to information or are able to hold on to information is changing, because it really feels that the mind just has to be empty to truly connect with that which is relevant for you personally, as the soul having an experience connecting to all of these different souls to help one another, but to also create something beyond what has been created before. And the mind only knows what already happened, so it cannot really help to go beyond, to help with going beyond. But that's all changing. Throughout February, we're going to have everybody conjunct in Pluto. Venus is the first, she's conjunct Pluto now, but we're going to have everyone conjunct in Pluto. So these are big reset points. All of these conjunction, they are reset points that are saying, okay, something has ended, something new is beginning. And we are in the year 1, right? The 0 and the 1, the 10, the Wheel of Fortune, the 0, the Fool, and the 1, the Magician. So what are we creating going forward for this new chapter with Saturn and Neptune soon to be back in Aries? There is a whole new, the Saturn is the manifested reality, is the physical world, all that you can, perceive with your senses, trying to Taurus, to experience life through, trying to Virgo. But Neptune is the source, is all that is the nebulous infinity, right? So both of those moving soon into the sign of Aries, and this being the final lunation with Neptune in Pisces and final new moon with Saturn in Pisces. And then everything's gonna change next month, and we're going to move from the snake to the horse. Fire horse on the top of it. It's not just any horse, it's the horse of fire. So creation is gonna move quick. Like that which has not yet been shedded, it's gonna be just burned to ashes, right? Because we also in that phoenix rising with, I think, human design, or entering into it. I don't do human design, but I know it's on the cards. So yeah, it's just really interesting. It's just really interesting time to be alive. So that's all I can say. There is a lot happening for everyone. You might be in different not stages. There are different levels of how conscious we are about these things, and there is no better or worse. It's just how deep you want to go. But I really feel that everybody's experiencing these energies, like to a certain degree. And yeah, soon moving into the eclipse season next month, things will be even more highlighted and underlined. You can see like there is so much going on everywhere, wanting your attention, seeking to feed on your energy to manifest, Capricorn, to manifest. But what are you manifesting, the past or the future? If you want to manifest the future, you have to allow something other than the mind to guide, because the mind is polarized. It can only seek, it's always connected to duality, so it seeks yes or no, good or bad, desired or not desired, so that's what helps us to shape our experience and create our personality. But it will always make something undesired, something wrong. And we are now, I feel, in a stage where we are trying to neutralize. Like, there is no right and wrong. It's just what is right for me, you know, for my unique experience, for you. Because what's right for me could be wrong for someone else, and what's wrong for someone else could be right for me. So this is where I feel the Capricorn and the Mars still in Capricorn and the Mercury still in Capricorn during the time of this new moon in Capricorn in the closing phase with the Sun. The things will never be the way they've been. They will never be the same. It's just, how else do you want things to be from now on? What do you want to fill the emptiness with? The things that you released, you know, in these past seasons. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it at that, you know. But yeah, the square to Chiron, a lot of, especially because it is on the Sagittarius decan, a lot of squares, a lot of stories are coming up, and I mean in square with Jupiter. So things are coming up, you know, to be healed, things that are not even yours, you know, they are connected to the Piscean age, different lives, different stories, different emotion, like different identities. Is the emotion, the raw emotion that matters, and learning to let go to the attachment to that identity or the draw, to become completely empty, so we can be filled from inside out, not from outside in, not allowing the external world to fill us and to create us, but it's a self-creation. I'm creating myself, and I'm going to experience this world and respond to it in a way that is in resonance with that choice, rather than I'm just constantly becoming response and reaction to the external. So yeah, these are the different ways and the different choices that are being made, the different ways that will be possible for humanity to experience life through. Okay, let's pull some cards. So, Queen of the Moon. What is the guidance for the Capricorn New Moon? The first new moon of 2026. Sovereignty, right? So we are seeding the consciousness of the conscious creator of reality. And it's 41. It's through chaos, right? 41, the number 5. And also if you look at it reverse, 14, the temperance, through balancing. Yeah, and she's holding the moon to her heart, like feeling into things. We don't have to understand, we don't have to know all the details, the stories, but understanding that these emotions have a message for us and they play a role, and we can acknowledge it and choose differently. You have the sovereignty to decide, even though, like I said early on, like free will is kind of like, it's not exactly what we think it is, but if I surrender to my higher self is sovereign, it has a free will, it's unrestricted, it's unlimited, it's connected to all that is. So it's just to get through the barrier of the ego mind that feels that it needs to control and know everything, which is usually always leads to replication of the past. So being free from all of that. And then at the bottom is wisdom. Yeah, this card has been coming up a lot. That's 22, which is number 4. So this is the structure, you know, creating the structure, you know, the wisdom from everything that's been learned, from all that was, you know, the South Node in Virgo. Yeah, and Mercury as the ruler is connected to this moon, conjunct. So everything is connected, you know. We're always looking at how else to expand, where else to go, what else to create. And now we have the opportunity to go beyond the old stories, learn from the past, and break free from it. Becoming the conscious creator, the consciousness in action. Okay, let's see about the Sun. Queen of the Sun Oracle. What does the Sun have to say about, okay, reflection. This card also came up in the last few months, maybe in November, I'm not sure, but I know it came out. Oh wow, and that's another 41. Another 41. But it's interesting how there is all this water, you know, washing clean, and the rainbow on the horizon, reflecting how far you've come, how much you've learned. Yeah, reflection and resilience. What everything you've gone through to become who you are now, and knowing that you can trust yourself because you survived 100% of everything that ever happened to you. And this is a number 3, the co-creation, right? The number 3 is also about expansion, and it's also the Empress card in a tarot, which is the foundation, which is the new earth. So resilience, reflection, sovereignty, and wisdom. Reflecting on the past, learning from it, and choosing your new rainbow, choosing to go beyond it. Okay, let's see about the portals. What is the portal that's opening up with this new moon in Capricorn on January 18, 2026? Crown chakra upgrade, divine connection, holy experiences, miraculous energy. Here we got the dove, the peace, coming into peace with what is. And then at the bottom we have the crystal skull, the frequent flyer, especially for the past 2 years. Clarity, divine healing, high vibrational energy. So yeah, a lot of crown chakra activation. So that's what I feel, you know, like there is no other way. There is no other way to create and experience different reality unless we go beyond the logical mind and the attachments to the roles and the past identities that we still carry in our on the cellular level. So having a divine clarity, divine healing, there's a lot of healing going on. Jupiter is still connected to this moon, and yeah, divine connection, holy experiences, miraculous energy. A read of that one, crown chakra upgrade. Crown chakra upgrade. So your message, your crown chakra has been upgraded. The spiritual connections you have always had are now being acknowledged. The parts of yourself that you have run from or ignored are being reclaimed. This is an important time for you are uncovering gifts and wisdom and moving through healing. You may have experienced moments that have tested your faith and your belief in the divine, but know that it's okay and no grievance are being held against you. The Holy Spirit is with you and within you. This is a coming home to your truest self. You are also being encouraged to prepare yourself for miracles. Expect to experience wonder and blessings, for you are being surrounded by healing light. Divine encounters and holy experiences are happening around you. If you have had the challenging relationship with spirituality or religion in the past, this has now been healed and you can move forward in an authentic way, experiencing the divine on a personal level and beyond the limitations of an unnecessary dogma. You are connected. And actually the crystal skull is the very next card. So I'm just gonna read the message. All aspects of your life are becoming clearer at this time. Expect to become aware of what you need to step away from to have a more focused path. You may have felt indecisive, but now you are downloading direct guidance from the heart of the source so that you can live and express yourself in a more authentic way. Know that downloads often appear as your own inner guidance, encouraging you to move forward. The key is to recognize the calmness they bring. This is a time of clarity and connection. Crystal Skull downloads are here to bring clarification to what you have been receiving within. In order for the next phase of your journey to unfold, you must follow the information you have received. You know what you need to do to heal and grow. If you've been asked for a sign that the healing work you have been doing has been successful, trust that this card is the message you have been waiting for. So, a lot of upgrades, a lot of healing, a lot of reconnecting. Okay, and the last deck I'm going to use before the major arcana is the Sacred Destiny from Denise Lin. Let's see what the Sacred Destiny wants to say about the Capricorn New Moon 2026. Sacred Destiny, what is the guidance for the upcoming cycle of the Capricorn? Nothing is coming, so I'm gonna just choose power. Learning about the power through not necessarily an easy times. We don't discover how strong and resilient we are if everything is easy. Resiliency and power. So on the other side of the resiliency is also the power, you know, like not on the other side, it comes hand in hand. You're resilient, you're powerful, you can withstand and withhold things. And yeah, gateway, this is a gateway into the world that you are desiring, into the new horizon that you wish to create. And then also illumination. I have never seen this card. Yeah, things are becoming clearer, and this looks kind of like a new moon here. So it's interesting because with the new moon, usually there is not much light, right? There is a new moon, there is no light really. So there are things that are going to be illuminated to us, that are going to make us aware. Like I said, Mercury, Sun conjunction, then we have the Mercury-Mars conjunction, which this is the third one. We had it in Scorpio, Sag, and now Capricorn, and also the last one before the last one, last two, was in December 2024, the year of the 4 Capricorn lunations, and that was also in the sign of Capricorn on a final decan. So yeah, so there is a lot of restructuring that's happening from inside out, and part of that is restructuring the way we think and the way we are connecting and interacting. So the clarity will not come from necessarily the ego mind. It might be just a intuitive hit, you know. And yeah, the gateway, see this as the gateway towards the horizons you wish to explore, as this new version of yourself. And the power, claiming your power, stepping into your power as the conscious creator. All right, and the final, the major arcana, there was judgment at the bottom. Major arcana, what is the guidance for this new moon in Capricorn, the first lunation of 2026? All right, we have Temperance, 14, we spoke about Temperance, all about balancing. This is actually a Sagittarius card, which is all about expansion, healing, right? 1 foot on the earth, 1 foot on the ground, in the water, just like the star. So there is a lot of healing going on, you know, even if it's happening through the chaos and unexpected situation, but there is a lot of healing going on. 1 and 4, I mean, that is the creation of a new structure, right? Yeah, Temperance, and then the bottom is Tower. This kind of reminds me of the power and tower, right? So yeah, again, the situations, unexpected situations that are giving us clarity, especially about what is not solid, what will not stand or hold anymore. And then death underneath that, because the things have to die, they have to change, metamorphosis. Here is the judgment, because we are being called to step into the roles that we came here to play. Justice, which is the balancing of the past, the 11, right? The balancing, so we can make a different choice. The old energy is neutralized, so we can create something new. Yes, with the Emperor becoming the conscious creator of a new reality, the number 4, the building blocks. I'll end with that. So yeah, so that's what we got. The Temperance, time of healing through chaos and disruption and unexpected things, which are awakening us to the power of who we really are, shedding the old skin, shedding the layers of who we not, metamorphosing into something different. I mean, this is a 13, so on the other side of that is the 4. Stripping the layers, like I know my shaman said that it's like removing the scaffolding. So what will remain is the true essence of who you are. So all the layers are being peeled off like the onion. So you realize who you really are. And through the process, a justice is playing out, balancing of the old with the new. And we are being called to do what we came here to do with the judgment. All right, so that's all I got. I hope that there was something in here that is useful. Like I said, there is a lot going on with the astrology, predominantly focus on the Capricorn at the moment, but of course that's going to move because we are stepping into the Aquarius season as of next week. And yeah, with Aquarius and Uranus, expect the unexpected. So let's see how that plays out, especially as we will be soon entering into the eclipse season. And yeah, that is where the spirit and the soul is really in charge, even though it is always, but during the eclipses is definitely the case. So anyway, guys, I hope that you are all doing well. I wish you all the best for 2026. Have an enjoyable year ahead, full of magical transformations. And yeah, if you choose to have a reading with me, you can book through my website. If you are Capricorn Aquarius, you can pick any readings with a 25% discount. And also you can have any of the readings with my husband Aaron as well. So if you would like to connect with the Divine Masculine, then that's also possible and available. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful Capricorn New Moon and a great weekend ahead. And I'll speak to you again in the next video. Bye for now.